I know, I know. I'm a little late. Well, that's when you can start saying shit all of, so you can forgive me for being a little bit late. Sing that old anxiety song. Yeah. It never be brought to mind. My New Year's banter sucks. See, that's why I don't do like a New Year's show thing. Like I would probably make like a horrible like New Year's parade marshal, because my bantering skills are, I reckon I'm just not anointed in that department.
Aww.
Oh man, so we're entering into 2020 now. Now I guess if people want to be technical about it. You have those that say that, well, technically it's not a new decade. It's not a new decade until 2021. Okay, that's cool. But I don't know if the 70s started, or any year that you want to pick. I don't know if the 70s started until 1971, or if the 80s started until 1981. It's like, once it's 1970, it's the 70s.
Right.
Once it's 1980, it's the 80s. Once it's the 20s, it's the 20s. So... but I dig. It's like you have to complete a full 10-year cycle. So at the end of 2020, we go into 2021. That I reckon we have gone through a full decade. But I think for all intents and purposes, it's we're stepping into a new decade. Let us just enjoy that, man. Don't be all technical about it. Whatever. Yo, it's the 20. And oh, by the way, interesting thing. We started tonight. We're going to read Acts 22, right? Last year for New Year's Eve, we were on Acts 2.
Oh my Lord, really?
So being that we're going to be marking our calendars the year 20. It's been 20 episodes.
How weird.
Since last year, we did Acts. We were on Acts 2, and now we're on Acts 22.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. You're trying too hard to make this interesting, so.
I like it.
Man. So like a full, and and maybe we'll get the Roaring 20s again. Now the 20s were called the Roaring 20s because the economy was roaring.
Yeah.
From what I understand, and maybe we're experiencing that again.
It doesn't end the same way.
Right? I don't know, right? Well, if it is going to end, I hope it ends with the roar of the conquering lion of Judah.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? Let that be the roar of this Roaring 20s, is that the conquering lion of Judah comes up and lets out that big meow. Right? That's what I'm looking for, boy.
Amen. I'm looking for it too.
Mm-hmm. Listening for it, So let's Maranatha. May the Lord come in and set everything straight, because as it stands, there's a lot of stuff that's crooked, man.
Yeah.
And you guys know the reason why I've been focusing on doing these Bible studies is because there is a lot of fake news out there. Fake news like all day long, all day. Fake news all day, every day. Fake news. This is the news that has stood the test of time, y'all. This is the real news right here, the real good news, and that's the filter that we need, man. Because there's so much information, misinformation, and from there, it just gets down to what am I going to listen to? What am I hearing here? And that's when we need the discernment of the Holy Spirit to just help us stay focused and not get sucked into a whole bunch of nonsense.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going on out there. And we can see, despite all the evidence that's being put out there, it doesn't seem to matter. It's like we're trying to reason with unreasonable people. Who I've been saying, y'all, for the past, speaking of decades, I've been saying this since as soon as I started doing these. Yep. Back in 2007. Back in 2007 when I was a young man. Oh. Right? Back in 2007. What did I say? In my first MySpace videos? What did I say?
Wow.
You can have all the reason you want. Right? I see a shout out from the groovy Nancy Creek.
Yay.
Wishing us a Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Right? Thank you. What have I been saying? It's like, look, you can have all the reason that you want. It doesn't matter if these people are conditioned to be prejudiced against you.
Amen.
Right? Doesn't matter. They're not going to believe you. They're not going to believe you based on how they've been conditioned to perceive you.
Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These are the people who claim to hate bigotry and prejudice so much, but these are the most prejudiced people out there.
Amen.
They've been conditioned to be prejudiced against you. That's why it's so hard to reason with them.
Yeah,
it's one of the reasons.
Usually they don't even know Republicans.
They don't even know it. Yeah, a lot of these people, it's like, have you even met a Republican? No. It's okay. But you got all this prejudice, and that's what I've been saying. It's like there has to be a means to interfere with the conditioning of prejudice.
Yeah.
They're gonna keep doing what they're doing. There has to be some sort of counter to it. And y'all, I'm sorry to tell you, but reason isn't the counter to it. It's part of it. Okay, it's part of it, but there has to be a vehicle for the reason.
Amen.
See what I'm saying? There's no vehicle for the reason. You can't just keep talking to these people. They don't understand that language. It has to be transmitted to them in another way.
In entertainment.
Yep. Unfortunately, well, entertainment, which is imaginative.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's lacking. And I know, y'all, I've been talking about this. I talk about it, and I talk about it, and I talk about it. But here's the thing. Before anybody gets burnt out on me talking about it so much, consider, aren't we burnt out about them doing it so much?
Yeah.
They're the ones who keep doing it. They keep doing it, I'm just like saying, okay, well, you guys are getting frustrated with this problem. And you'll hear, talk show hosts try to tell us, but we're winning. We're winning, right? Despite everything, the polls and all that sort of stuff, and they keep telling their audience, why do you have to keep, it's like, it doesn't, the prominent talk show hosts, whichever. It's like, really, why do you have to keep convincing everybody that we're winning?
Yeah.
Why do you have to keep doing that? Because it doesn't look like that, does it? Right? There seems to be an index to this, where it just doesn't feel like that's the case. Because because it feels like people are going crazy out there.
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi keeping on getting away with what she's getting away with. Are you kidding me? Chuck Schumer getting away with what he's getting at. It's like, here we are. It's like, they've been pushing at this impeachment since the beginning of this presidency. They've been pushing for it based on nothing, based on imagination.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Everything that they got is imaginary. It's all imaginary. And it's like we try to downplay it, but it's like, dude, here we are. The Congress is at this point is pushing for their impeachment still. Yeah. Right? And all we're waiting for now is just for Nancy to walk over the articles of impeachment over to the Senate. and it's like, knowing that this can just totally be shot down in the Senate, but hold on, wait a minute. Is that reason thing I'm coming back to? Yeah. It's like we're trying to tell them, that this is going to get shot down in the Senate, right? Mm-hmm. Didn't stop them. They're still pushing for it. Yeah. Why? Because they're not reasonable people. Right. Because they have the whole dossier thing, imaginary.
Yep. Yeah.
The conversation that Trump had with the Prime Minister of Ukraine. I think he's Prime Minister. Yeah. Right? Same conversation. Anything that they're trying to push forward with is all imagination.
Yeah.
All imagination, y'all. The past decade. Y'all, the past decade has been imaginary.
Oh, Lord.
Real effects. But based on imagination. People had to imagine. When this thing started. Let's back up like 10 years ago. About 10 plus years ago. Speaking of examining a decade. The whole decade was based on imagination, y'all. Because people had to imagine. People were duped into believing that Obama was going to be the hope and change.
True.
Right?
Right.
Obama, his whole platform was imaginary. Hope and change? Really? People imagining that race relations got better? You got people out there thinking, race relations were better under Obama. No, you got to imagine that. They got worse. The reality is they got worse.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay? So, healthcare, worse.
Yeah.
But these people thought they had to imagine. They had to imagine that, we're going to have a better healthcare plan. The reality sets in.
Yeah.
But the reality sets in, prompts them to imagine that it was Trump's fault.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like everything that they believe, imaginary. Where are we at? Like, look at we thought that the whole LGBT, not we, I knew it wasn't. I knew it wasn't, but people, even conservatives, bought into this idea that, hey, what's same-sex marriage gonna hurt?
Yeah.
What's it gonna hurt?
We'll let them into the tent.
Right? It's like, and you had to imagine that there's no harm in it. Mm-hmm. Conservatives, people who are trying to act like you're patronizing them because you don't want to be considered homophobic, right? Well, they call us racist, sexist, and homophobes. Well, maybe we should show them that we're not homophobic and be all open arms. It's like, no, you don't want to do that. It's not the way to go. I'm not trying to tell anybody to be rejecting of anybody or anything like that, because we want to be welcoming, but there's boundaries.
Yeah.
And conservatives are they're sacrificing their boundaries to look all accepting and not homophobic.
True, that's good.
That's a big mistake. Hey, you don't want to do that. As the saying goes, you don't want to love somebody to hell.
Yeah, exactly.
But what happened? Even conservatives, along with the rest of the country, are giving in to this imaginary idea that there's no harm in it. What's the harm in two people of the same sex, being in love? It's not really love, y'all. It's a perversion of love. It's not love.
Yeah.
Okay? It may be infatuation. It may be great affection and all that sort of stuff, but it's not really love. Okay? So, but what's the harm in it? Well, we're seeing how this is turning out. The floodgates have opened up, and now we see that there's children that can. Hey, if I'm a 4-year-old boy and I have no clue, my brain is hardly. My mind is hardly developed to really understand how things are going on, but I can tell you right now that I want to be a girl. Oh, my daughter wants to be a girl. Let's get him some puberty blockers.
Yeah.
Okay? And from there on, you've totally screwed with their development. You might even kill them because that's what's happening. Kids are being killed. Oh, but there's no harm. There's no harm in homosexuality. All this comes out of homosexuality, y'all. The deviance and the misunderstanding about your gender and the laws of nature and how it dictates. I'm sorry. Yes, nature dictates things.
Yes.
Okay? And you want to be rebellious against the ordinance of nature, God's ordinance of nature. You want to do something else with that. Well, what you end up getting is that you end up with kids deciding that they want to be a different sex. And they're given pills that screws up their mentality.
Wow.
And if it doesn't do that, it kills them. But it's an acceptable sacrifice.
God help.
It's acceptable. You don't hear about that stuff in the media. You don't hear about it.
No.
Why? Because it's an acceptable sacrifice. And God warned us of this from the beginning, y'all. He warned us of this from the beginning. I created you. I created you in my image, man and woman. That's it. There's nothing else. You are a man. You are a woman. That's it. And I know somewhere down the line you're going to mess with this. But it's a truth that I'm going to let you know about yourself right up front. You are a man. You are a woman. Leave it alone. What are we doing? Messing with it.
Yeah.
Okay? And y'all, that's always been. That's been happening for thousands of years.
Yeah.
People messing with their gender. And when you have people doing that, it is a sure sign of nutso.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay? It is a symptom of your brain is off. And we're patronizing these people.
Now, you mean homosexuality is a symptom of...
It is a symptom of mental illness. Okay? And some of these people, yeah, they could be brilliant.
Yeah.
Highly educated. More educated than me.
Yeah.
More successful than I am. Okay, but just because you're successful and you're really intelligent doesn't mean that you can't be mentally ill.
Of course.
Ted Bundy? Anybody?
Right?
Right? It's like, come on, man. You can be brilliant and still be mentally ill.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a good idea to patronize these people.
Yeah.
Okay? But this is a reflection of the past 10 years. Past 10 years has been imagination land where people think that, oh, it's okay to do this. And we're trying to tell them, dude, you don't want to do that. Don't do that. Oh, what's the harm in it? Words of the devil. What's the harm in it?
Amen.
The Bible tells you right off the bat that the devil works in subtleties. Right? And then once he's got that door open, y'all, then here he comes as a lion.
Yes.
Right? Works in subtleties.
Yeah.
The
Bible says don't let him get a foothold.
Right? Because once that lion is able to tip up close enough, hey, he'll work subtly, right? He'll work subtly just where he can get close enough, right? And then once he starts to charge,
yeah.
All right. So, but this is what people are giving over to, and going in, in 2020, y'all, it's in 2020. If I may, in this 2020, and considering what we've done, right? Because y'all, I'm telling you, as you keep hearing me say, we're in the ages of there's no excuse to not see this anymore.
Amen.
We're doing the same things over and over again, y'all, and it's time to say, okay, let's not do it. And be able to effectively warn people and be able to convey reason to them in ways that they can understand. Because, y'all, praise be to God, we've made it to 2020. And you know what 2020 means? 2020 vision should be good.
Right.
And right now, we should be in 2020 hindsight. And we better, and this time, we better make good use of it, too. Good use of this 2020 hindsight that we've been given, baby.
Yes.
All right? 2020 hindsight's been written for 2020 hindsight, foresight, you name it, has been given to us in this book.
Yes.
It's got the formula. This is the truth right here. And we should be ready for it. All right? We've all made mistakes. There's a lot of things that we haven't seen. And, and we thought that we could do it our own way.
Yeah.
Now's the time to understand that, no, the Lord has told us what's up.
Yeah.
And there ain't no excuse to not get it anymore.
Amen.
So that being said, y'all, going forward, be prayerful. The Lord, for a reason, told us to pray for our enemies and stuff like that. That's something that, even myself, I'm guilty of not doing.
Yeah.
I try myself even to try to reason with these people. And it's not that you shouldn't. But before you go out and try to reason with somebody, make sure that you're prayed up first.
Amen.
That's all. That way you don't go out and you make mean-spirited arguments.
Yeah.
We don't, because sometimes, I see some people getting mean-spirited, and it's like, don't do that. It's not a big thing on us, but it don't take much. Right. The other side is the side that's naturally mean-spirited.
Yes.
That's a normality with them.
Amen.
Right? For us, it's a drop in the bucket, but that's all it takes for them to make us out to look like we're the ones. Doesn't take much. Okay? But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't try. We should be prayed up. Lord, help me make this argument to where it is sound, it squares up with you, and that it falls on good soil. And if it doesn't, then enlighten me into what vehicle to use.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes we got to try different strategies and things like that. And it's not just about the argument itself. The argument is not the only thing that needs to be effective, but how you convey the argument. What vehicle are you going to put it in to do it? Are you going to put it in a song? Are you going to put it in some kind of presentation, a comedy, appeal to them through they claim to be all scientific, right? And praise and praise God for you got Christians out there that say, hey, well, you want to get to the science of it? Let's do it. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, man. Let's dig into the science. Let's dig into the science of it, because that's one of the ways that you really get them.
Yeah.
Right.
Fun.
And it's fun, because science, it means knowledge. Mm-hmm. Right? So, and God is the omniscience. He is the all science. Well, let's go from there.
Yeah.
That's the way to tap into people. They love that stuff. And don't get me wrong, y'all, some people are hardwired, because you got these people out there claiming to love science, but they totally ignore biology.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And sometimes you can even point that out to them, and sometimes that rattles their brain. They'll be like, oh, well, yeah, yeah. You let that sink in.
Yeah.
Right? And then from there, it's like I said, there's so many avenues to tap into people. Everybody's a little bit different, and all these variables need to be explored.
Amen.
Those who claim to who worship science. Science is the answer to everything. Okay, well, let's talk to science then.
Yeah.
Let's talk some science, right? Some people are they learn things by their video games.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's explore that angle. Let's tap into that. Some it takes movies, some it takes a song, some it takes fashion, some there's so many different angles that the left is promoting corrosive ideas.
Amen.
We have to have the same vehicles to interrupt that.
Yeah.
Don't expect the left to stop doing what they're doing. And the reason why I'm saying this over and over again is because look where we are, y'all. Because after this New Year's holiday, the Democrats are going to be coming back in.
Yeah.
Right? Pelosi, I guess, then gave them the holiday or whichever. But after this is over, oh man. And we're in 2020, this election year.
Oh, it's gonna be rough, yeah.
We're gonna have to be really prayed up, y'all, and put that prayer to work.
Amen.
Right? Pray for reason. Pray to the Logos, the Word of God. Pray to the Logos, because that's what He is. He's the logic.
Yes, amen.
He's the reason. You want logic and you want reason, you get it from Him.
It's literally His name.
That's His name. Right? I am the Word of God. I'm the reason. I am the logic.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some people don't get that.
Mm-mm.
The next chance that you have is to explore in different ways to deliver that reason.
Yeah.
And then from there, if that doesn't work, as the Lord says, dust your sandals off, ease on down the road. But the Lord does tell us, I need you to make a compelling case.
Yeah.
That's our instruction, y'all. We're not supposed to get out there and terrorize anybody. That's up to the Lord. The Lord, He said, no, anybody who brings terror, that's me. Only I do that.
Right.
I don't need you to be terrorist. I need you to be compelling. I don't need you to be coercive. I don't need you to be any of that. Terror is my department. The proper fear of the Lord.
Yes.
Okay? They don't want to listen to truth. I will bring my terror. Why? Why would God terrorize these people? Because those who don't believe in truth will terrorize others, and God is a God of retribution. And it's like if you are bringing this nonsense to other people to bring oppression to them, I will bring my terror to you.
Right.
That's how God works.
You know, that's one of the most interesting parts of the Bible to me is the account of Sodom and Gomorrah, how the countries around them, the territories around them, not just Sodom and Gomorrah, the countries around them or territories were crying out to the Lord because they were being mistreated, basically.
Y'all, she raises an interesting point, bringing up Sodom and Gomorrah. I want y'all to think about this. Like I said, this past decade of imagination. Okay? Don't just imagine that homosexuals are these effeminate people who can't do nothing, who can't fight or anything like that. Do not underestimate these people, because one of the scariest nations on earth was Sodom and Gomorrah. They were a bunch of perverts and homosexuals. Yeah. Okay? They were homosexuals. That's where we get, the word sodomy from, right? Yeah. We get it from there. Men who like to have relations with men. But y'all, the nations surrounding them who were just as hedonistic as they were, were terrified of them. Okay? Do not underestimate these people and the oppression that they can bring.
Amen.
Did we not hear Biden say these Christians who are against LGBT should be labeled as terrorists?
Yeah.
Where do you think that leads, y'all? Where do you think it leads? If these people are able to see us as terrorists, then that means that we can be hunted. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
It means that the LGBT, they don't necessarily need to get out there and fight us in the streets. They can get somebody else to do it for them.
Oh, wow.
Okay? You don't think that people can't be suckered into doing that? You know, a lot of the Nazis were homosexuals too, right? Look at the damage they did.
Yeah.
Okay? Y'all don't get it twisted. Don't underestimate these people. The Word of God has told us how this stuff goes down.
Indeed.
Right? Imagination land, like I said, like with abortion. You can imagine that a baby is not a human, and we've been told all this whole time that, oh well, it's not a viable human being until it's born.
Yeah.
Right? Well, these babies are being born now. And they're being killed.
Yes.
Against their own narrative. They're viable human beings, but they're still eligible to be killed, right? Yeah. Y'all, I'm telling you, this is what's coming next. This is what's coming. I hope the Lord comes first. But y'all, this is what's gonna come next. You ready for this? Flat out child sacrifice is next. This has all been child sacrifice in the first place.
Yeah.
But when you got people wanting their religion represented, I mean, people are just coming out after the floodgates of homosexuality, same-sex marriage. It's all coming, y'all. Pedophilia is gonna get normal.
Yeah.
Right? Pedophilia is getting normalized. And y'all, I'm telling you, flat out religious child sacrifice.
I don't think it even needs to be religious, because in Rome, there were some Christians who were standing up. Well, they were like Roman Catholics, but they were standing up to Rome. They had a practice where the woman would have a child, and if the father didn't claim it, they would just put it outside in a basket and just let it die.
Yeah.
That wasn't religious. They just had they weren't like Christians who cherish life.
Right. True. You don't necessarily need a religion, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that there won't be any. You'll have some.
Yeah.
It's like you'll have
the earth.
Yeah, you may have You may have religious factions, and this isn't conspiracy, y'all. This has happened. Where you have people waiting. Say, oh, you don't want that? Are you planning to abort your baby? Really? We'll take them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That baby was doomed anyway. We'll take him and we'll sacrifice him. Make a ritual sacrifice of it. What you gonna do? You gonna tell them that they don't have a religious rights? If abortion is legal, and it's legal for you to kill a baby that you decided that wasn't fit to live, you don't think that person, that child can be given over to a cult that wants to sacrifice them? It's coming, y'all.
Their parts are already being sold to.
Come on now.
To research. Yeah.
Come on now. We're already there. This is where this stuff leads. This is where this leads, and we've opened up the doors for it. Oh man, woe to us.
Woe to us, because Christians have always been the main persecuted people.
Yeah.
It's only just this short time in America that we're not persecuted, but woe to us because we're letting it go.
Right,
we're going right back to it.
Now, I don't want to sound all doom and gloomy, right?
And all right.
As the fire engine goes by. Doom and gloom, right? What did I say earlier? I said, yo, man, we've been blessed with 2020 hindsight.
Amen.
We could do better now.
Amen.
Let's do better. You know, let's dig into the Word of God and say, yo, we're armed to fight this. You know, let's get out there and promote some sanity, y'all.
Yes.
Imagination and insanity has been promoted for the last 10 plus years. Let's get out there and load up these gospel guns and get out there and promote truth with style and guts, you know, in compelling and creative ways where we can, you know, it's like, man, you know, we all know that this is subject to decay anyway, but maybe we can slow it down a little bit, you know, and say, hey, God, fortify us to make a good harvest for you.
Yes.
If this should be in the times that you're coming, if these are the end times, Lord, you know, help us to, you know, to sow a good harvest for you.
Amen.
If we can do that for you, you know, help us.
Yeah.
Help us do it.
I'm one of those of the belief that he did give us Trump to kind of help us out for a while, give us a reprieve so we can reap a harvest.
Yeah, it's like at the sounding of the last Trump, I'm going to give you Trump. It's like, look, I'm trying to give you some signals here. All right? You know, it's like I'm not trying to make, you know, Trump a figure of the Bible or anything like that, but, you know, it's like I can give you some indicators. You know, it's like, come on. It's like
he's done it, with leaders before.
Right? You know, it's like
the Lord meaning.
So you know, just tap in, man, and let it go from there. So yeah, y'all don't want to sound all negative, you know, and be like that. It's like, yo, going into this new decade, you know, we've seen how this works. There's no excuse to see how this works, not to see how this works anymore. And going forward, you know, let's go forward as a godly people.
Amen.
We can do better. You know, we have an opportunity to do better. It's like there's no excuse not to, so, which gives me a lot of hope.
Me too.
Right?
Amen.
Gives me hope, man. It's like even despite, you know, the nature of decay, it's like, yeah, it's supposed to do that, but you know, maybe we're at the same time we're called to be salt and light, right?
Yes.
God wouldn't tell us to be salt and light for nothing. So we're supposed to get out there and do some preservation work.
Yes.
Against, you know, what's going down. Some are just going to be agents of corrosive agents, y'all. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But some are called to be preserving agents.
Yeah.
That's where we come in. All right?
Amen.
Okay, y'all. Let's get into this Acts 22. Can you dig it?
Acts 22.
Acts 22. Okay. Let us he's already here. But you know, I just want to, you know, I'm kind of giving the, what do they call that? The introducer. Let me introduce
the star of the show.
That's the star of the show, right? The life of the party, all caps, life of the party. Our high priest and king Yeshua, and the Holy Spirit and the Holy Spirit in His name. May He come and counsel our study, give us that clarity, give us that discernment. You know, fortify us. To be effective salt and light for His glory, so we can go forth and radiate truth, and God, if I may be so bold as to say, make it irresistible.
Yes.
You know, give us that, you know, that glow of irresistible truth that points people to You. You know, going into 2020, we thank You so much for getting us through 2019, getting us through the decade. You know, we got another decade coming behind us as we go into 2020. And 2020, let that be the theme. We got 2020 hindsight. We got to know better now going forward. And we trust in You to help us to know better, and to to be gravitational for You, to be radiant for You, to be resonating for You. And you know, let's be preserving and inspirational to folks, and you know, we're motivated, Lord, for a good harvest for You.
Yes, Lord.
That's what we want to do, you know. So when You come calling, Lord, we hope that we got a whole bunch of people coming to Your party.
Yes, Jesus.
Right on, Yeshua's name.
Yeshua's name.
Amen.
Amen.
Let's do it. All right, Acts 22. All right, y'all. Brothers and fathers. So this is after they came to just really quick. Your chapter 22 may start a little bit different from ours, and see, and it's almost you know, God, I think You want me to do this. You want me to brag. You want me to brag that our Bible was signed by Alan West, because I gotta let folks know that, okay, my Bible reads a certain way because it's our Bible's just better. We got the Hebrew Messianic, you know, we got the Jewish Messianic Bible, right? We have that, so it may start a little bit different, and my Bible is signed Alan West. Where's the signature at? See, Alan West signed our Bible. All right, he signed it, and So if it reads a little bit different, that's why. It's because we have the Jewish Messianic Bible. All right, but so this is coming out of they came to pick up Paul because a riot started.
Okay.
And so the commander of the Roman army, they were dispatched, and they went to grab Paul, and just kind of give you guys a little back story, just a really quick. They came to pick up Paul, drag him out of there, and Paul says something to them that makes him that gets the commander to understand that oh snap, you speak Greek? We thought you were the Egyptian who led a terrorist group. Mm-hmm. You know, that's who they thought it was. Another Egyptian came in claiming to be the Messiah. They viewed him as a Messiah. And they thought that's who Paul was. And Paul, you know, just by asking them, what was it they asked him? In 21:37, as Paul is about to be brought into the headquarters, he said to the commander, "Can I say something to you?" And evidently he said it in Greek. Mm-hmm. And so the guy's like, "Oh, snap, are you Greek? We thought you were that Egyptian dude." Okay? So that's when he gets a little bit of credibility with them, and they bring him back to the steps of the gate that was shut behind him. Remember, y'all, if the gate is shut behind you, right? The gate is shut behind you. That means that you're going to die. All right? They're going to kill you there. So, but the soldiers, you know, had dragged him out, and now they're going to bring him back so Paul can make his address. And that's what brings us into Acts 22. And it says, "Brothers and fathers, listen to my defense, which I now present to you." When they heard that Paul was addressing them in Aramaic, they became even more quiet. Oh, snap, he's speaking our language. Right? Orale. Okay. Then he said, "I am a Jewish man, born in Tarsus." Tarsus means a flat basket. And born in Tarsus. Interesting enough, because, you know, kind of like foreshadowing like what he's going to be doing is the place where he comes from means flat basket. And how are they going to rescue Paul? Yeah. In a basket. It's like, wow. How uncanny. Okay. Born in Tarsus of Cilicia, which rolls or overturns, but brought up in this city at the feet of Gamaliel. And Gamaliel means recompense of God, or God the Avenger. Okay? Trained strictly according to the Torah of our fathers, being zealous for God, just as all of you are today. I persecuted this way to the death, right? Arresting both men and women and throwing them in prisons. As the Kohen Gadol and all the council of elders can testify about me. I also received letters from them to the brothers. And I went to Damascus. And Damascus means a bag of blood. Right? Kind of fitting, right? To bring back to Jerusalem even those who were in chains to be punished. But it happened that I was traveling and drawing near to Damascus. About noon, a great light from heaven suddenly flashed all around me. I fell to the ground and heard a voice saying to me, "Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me?" I answered, "Who are you, Lord?" He said to me, "I am Yeshua HaNatzarati, whom you are persecuting." So check this out. It lets you know that this happened around noon. So people could be like, "Oh, Paul, man, you didn't see no bright light, man. You were sunstruck or something." Yeah. Right? You was just staring at the sun, man, and maybe the heat got to you. Maybe it got to you and your boys, man, and you guys just, you know, you started having hallucinations or something like that, or you just freaked out or whichever, or you passed out or something, you know. But, you know, when in other accounts, it's like when the Lord showed up, he was brighter than the sun.
Wow. Brighter
than the sun. Okay? And now, it's interesting that when he shows up, look at the reflections here, y'all. Let's break out some reflections. And before I say that, y'all, what does Paul say? What does he say? "Who are you, Lord?" Now, when he asks that, y'all, Paul's not asking that out of total ignorance. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't ask that out of total ignorance. He knows it's God. Right? You think that's kind of strange? I do. So this light shows up, knocks him to his knees. He's like, "Who are you, Lord?" Because Paul could have thought it was something else. He had every reason to believe it could have been something else.
Yeah.
Right? But Paul wasn't scared. "Who are you, Lord?" Meaning that when he's asking that, he's asking with the attitude of, "I know that you're God, but are you God according to who these Christians say you are?"
Yeah,
that's what he wants to know. That's why he's asking. Because Paul wasn't like, "This is a demon. This is the devil." And that's who Paul assumed that he was persecuting the whole time. A person doing the devil's work. Because what did they say about Jesus? Jesus does these works by the power of Beelzebub.
Yeah.
And who is Beelzebub? It's the devil.
Yeah.
And who does the devil, what is he known for? Masquerading as an angel of what? Light. Yeah. Paul could have assumed that this was the devil.
That's
right?
Really true.
But he knew it wasn't the devil. So it's all that sort of stuff. Like when they accused Jesus of being empowered by Beelzebub. So why wouldn't Paul go that route? He didn't go that route. He knew he was talking to God. But he's like, but God, who are you? It's like, I'm going to ask this question because I'm expecting an answer. And the answer I'm looking for, will you correct me and let me know right off the bat, well, I'm not Jesus if that's what you're asking. Or on the other side of it, I'm Jesus if that's what you're asking. Okay? So now, Paul knows what's up when he's asking, who are you, Lord? Now, let's check out some of these reflections, y'all. When people think that the Old Testament, as a Christian, you don't need the Old Testament. You got to have the Old Testament, y'all. You got to have the Old Testament. And it frustrates Jesus when people don't dig into the Old Testament to know who he is. He says so himself. Yeah. Right? And Jesus, like, Moses talked about me. You should know this. Because if you don't, then you're just going to end up worshiping some idol named Jesus.
Amen.
And that really ticks Jesus off. All right? So, that's why we got to look into these reflections, y'all, so people don't have an excuse, because God is a just God. Somebody even said to me the other day, we can't know what the Bible says. It's like nobody can understand that we're not meant to understand this. No, are you kidding me? Let me repeat myself. These prophets and Jesus did not go to a bloody death just so we could have a book that we couldn't understand. Yes, God would not be a just God to pour out his wrath on us for something we could not understand.
Amen.
That's not a just God.
Yeah.
This book is meant for us to understand by the counsel of the Holy Spirit. Amen. We're supposed to understand it. All right? So, with that understanding, we're supposed to look in the Old Testament so we can see the blueprint of Christ.
Yes.
Know who he is. You're supposed to do that. If not, you're going to be looking at this Jesus. Oh, he's all accepting and he's okay with this and he's okay with that. And no, he's not. If Jesus was all accepting of what it is that we do, he would have just stayed on the throne. He would have came to die brutally for us.
Right.
Basically, Jesus saying, yeah, you coming into my kingdom over my dead body. You ain't coming up here the way you are. Nuh-uh. Jesus accepts us the way. And by the way, y'all, I'm putting my ZOloft ramp together. Thank you guys so much for supporting, because the ZOloft is coming back. Praise be to God.
Woo!
Right, and it'll be one of the topics I'm addressing. And just as as a forefront, I shouldn't even get away. Now that I done said that, I should just wait. I should just let y'all wait for the ZOloft. I should wait. Yeah.
Give us a hint. I don't even have a hint.
I kind of did. No.
We know it has something to do with Jesus.
No. I are bashful. Dude, you guys know I love cartoons. So whenever I think about Bugs Bunny, man, when he says that line, I just get in stitches. Anyway. Let's look at these reflections, y'all. Let's look at these reflections. Okay, so we go into the Old Testament. We see things like Daniel. Daniel had an encounter similar to Saul, right?
Yeah.
Pre-incarnate Christ shows up to meet Daniel. Okay? And what does it say about Jesus? Because some people out there saying that, well, the Bible doesn't tell us what Jesus looks like. Yeah, it does. The Bible tells you that his body looked like a precious gem. His face flashed like lightning and his eyes flamed like torches. His arms and his legs shone like polished bronze. Okay? So now people will say that, well, his arms and legs shone like polished bronze because he was in his glorified body. Well, thank you. So what are you trying to say? Was Jesus that was here before like all, pasty looking and stuff like that and all just pasty looking skin? Well, when he was glorified, he got that nice tan, baby.
Oh, goodness.
All right? Anyway.
Goodness.
But this is pre-incarnate Christ, giving you an idea of like what it is that he looks like, because he's not black, he's not white, he's a Middle Eastern Jew, and his skin was most likely dark. Okay? That doesn't make him black, folks. It just means that he had darker skin. All right? Like I said in one of my videos, Mexicans have dark skin. That doesn't make them black, folks. People in India have really dark skin. Some of them are really dark, way darker than me. That doesn't make them black, folks. Okay? So it's a difference between having dark skin and being black. It's totally different. Okay? But in this right here, it's given the description of Jesus, and it says that his body looked like a precious gem. Some translations will break it down to his body looked like beryl, or it looks like it gives different gems, and it says it gives a variation of stones. Y'all, the color of the stones is not what they're talking about. When they bring up these gems, what they're talking about is the cut, right? Gems that are cut, meaning that when Jesus showed up, he was cut like a gem. This Jesus was chiseled, right? Jesus had a body that made Adonis say like, dang, bruh, you look swole. You know what I'm saying? When Jesus showed, and y'all, and even in the New Testament, the New Testament tells you that Jesus grew up strong. He grew up strong in stature. His body, he was just fit, right? He was a strong man. But people they go into the Old Testament and they look for that verse that says that he wasn't anything to look at or anything like that, and he wasn't, y'all. Of course, that's what the haters are going to say about him. That's what they're talking about. How the haters are going to perceive him. The haters weren't impressed with him, right?
No, they certainly weren't.
Yeah, it's like you can look at how people they got them sour grapes. They'll see somebody who's all looking good and isn't whatever. Whatever. He's not all that, and they'll start sour graping on him and stuff like that. Well, that's the attitude that they had. Or they'll take the attitude of like, well, Jesus just looked average. He just looked average. That's why Judas had to go and give him a kiss so he could point out who he is, because he just looked like anybody else. No, dude, that's not why Judas came to kiss Jesus. The reason why Judas came to kiss Jesus is to make sure that nobody else would step forward and say that they're Jesus. Kind of like a Spartacus kind of thing. No, he's not Jesus, I'm Jesus. No, he's not Jesus, I'm Jesus. Judas went to the guy and kissed him, and that way nobody else could step forward and say that they're Jesus.
Because they were ready to die.
They were ready to fight and die for Jesus.
Not ready to not fight.
Right, exactly. But Jesus was like, there's not going to be a fight today. Like, what? There ain't going to be no fight. Bye. Because they was ready to fight, y'all. They wanted to fight Rome. When Jesus said there ain't going to be no fight, it was like, oh, you want us to hand ourselves over to die? Bye. And they split. Yeah. Okay? So, at any rate, y'all, this is how Jesus shows up to Daniel. Saul has a similar experience. Why is this important, y'all? Because let's take his body look like a precious gem. Now, interesting, this is what's weird, y'all, is because the word for body in the account of Daniel, the word for body is gav. Okay? Forgive me, my Hebrew brothers and sisters, if I pronounce that wrong. But it's gav, and gav breaks down to mean a body, not just a body, but a corpse. Okay, a corpse. So now we know that Jesus is the first fruits of the resurrection. He is the one who comes back from the dead. Okay, but the word that's used here, interestingly enough, doesn't just break down to body, but it breaks down to mean a corpse. This is why, and this strikes me very strange, because, like I said, Jesus is the first fruits of the resurrection. He's the first to come back from the dead. Okay, I'm talking now, and when I say come back from the dead, the first to come back from the dead and testify about it, because you notice that nobody else testifies about where they went.
Yeah,
nobody does. Only Jesus. Only, and if anything, the only time Jesus does, only time somebody does is when Jesus gives a parable about it. Right? So like when he's talking about the account of Lazarus and the rich man. That's still Jesus giving the testimony. It's not them. It's Jesus. Okay? So Jesus lets you know that he's the only one who's gone to the grave and then came back, and he can testify about what's on the other side of it.
Yeah.
All right? So, interestingly enough, it says that, and so we go on also and not only does it mean that, does it mean body or corpse? You know what else it means? It means the rear. Right? So when it tells you in Dan, his body looked like a precious gem, the word, his body, gav, the word gav breaks down to mean a corpse. Jesus is the first fruits of the resurrection. He's the one who comes back from the dead. It also means the rear guard. And that is what God said about himself when he passes with Moses. When I pass by you, you will see the rear of me. That's what you can see. You can see the rear guard of me. Right? Wow. That points to Christ. That's how Moses is able to see God. That's who Moses was talking to the whole time. He was talking to the rear guard of God. When it talks, when God gives the prophecy in the garden, it says that you will crush his head and you will bruise your heel. When it says bruise your heel, the word bruise your heel breaks down to the rear guard.
Wow.
That is Christ. That is pre-incarnate Christ. It all points to that. And so when we see this right here, that vision that Daniel saw, it's all pointing to that. He's pointing to Christ, who is the rear guard of God. Wow. Right? So let's go in further to the reflection of it, y'all.
Awesome.
Let's go into further the reflection. We got Saul. Saul, who gets a vision, right? Not just a vision, he gets a visitation. He gets a vision. He gets a visitation from Christ. Now, this is what's interesting to me. When he gets his visitation, Christ says, "Hey, Saul, what's up, man? Why are you persecuting me?" Once again, we look back into the Old Testament to see who Christ is. Saul is persecuting Jesus. Who is Jesus? Recognized as the son of David. Saul is persecuting Jesus, son of David. We know the Old Testament talks about another Saul, right?
Yeah.
We got another Saul. So let's go to 1 Samuel 21. Then David fled from Naioth in Ramah. He came to Jonathan and asked, "What have I done? What is my iniquity? How have I sinned against your father that he wants to take my life?" Basically, what's he asking? Why is Saul persecuting me?
Yeah. Wow.
Interestingly enough, you got David to Saul in his day, and now you got Jesus to Saul in his days. Coincidence that we got two Sauls? We're going to be persecuting Jesus, son of David, and David, right? Is that not enough? How about we take, then Saul recognized David's voice. "Is that your voice, David, my son?" "It is my voice, my Lord." And King David said, and he continued, "Why is my Lord pursuing his servant? What have I done? What evil is my hand?" Basically, what is David asking Saul? Why are you persecuting me?
Yeah.
Jesus, son of David. What does he ask Saul? Why are you persecuting me? Only I, Daniel, saw this vision. The men did not see it, but a great terror fell upon them. Same thing that happened with Saul. Though his boys were petrified, probably peed on themselves. Right? They're terrified when it showed up. So y'all, we look to the Old Testament, it tells you, yeah, Jesus is that dude. And Saul, being versed in the scriptures, knew that when he heard it. Right? It's like, yo, you're God. I know you're God. You're not anything else, but are you God? Like who they say you are? Who are you, Lord? Yeah, I'm Jesus. Why are you persecuting me? Wait a minute. That's the same thing that David asked to another Saul. I'm Saul. He was Saul. He was asked the same question. They called Jesus the son of David, and David asked the same thing of Saul.
That's weird.
Right? All adds up. All right. So let's see. 8. I answered, "Who are you, Lord?" And he said to me, "I am Yeshua HaNatzarite, whom you are persecuting." Now those who were with me saw the light, but did not understand the voice of the one who was speaking to me. So I said, "What shall I do, Lord?" And the Lord said to me, "Get up and go to Damascus. There you will be told all that you have been appointed to do." But since I could not see, because of the brilliance of the light, I was led by the hand by those who were with me, and came into Damascus. Then a certain Ananias, a devout man, Ananias, God has been gracious. All right. Let's see. All right. Trying to be helpful, and I lost my place. A devout man, according to the Torah, well spoken of by all the Jewish people living there, came to me, standing before me. He said to me, "Brother Saul, look up." In that very moment, I looked up and I saw him. I looked and saw him. And he said, "The God of our fathers handpicked you to know his will, to see the righteous one, and to hear an utterance from his mouth. For you will be a witness for him to all people of what you have seen and heard. Now, why are you waiting? Get up and be immersed and wash away your sins, calling on his name." So remember when John was like, "Hey, what's up, brood of vipers?
Yeah.
What's up? You worried? You worried about the wrath to come?" That's why you're here. It's like, what's up? Let's keep it real, okay? So, John, at this point, Paul's like, "Oh man, that kind of describes me. What John was talking about. Well, I don't want to be on the wrong side of this, so let me go ahead and get baptized." All right. So let's see. It happened that when he returned to Jerusalem, that I returned to Jerusalem and was praying in the temple. I fell into a trance, and I saw him saying to me, "Hurry, get out of Jerusalem quickly, because they will not accept your witness about me." And I said, "Lord, they themselves know that in one synagogue after another, I was imprisoning and beating those trusting in you. Even when the blood of your witness, Stephen, was spilled, I too was standing by and approving and guarding the clothing of those who were killing him." And he said to me, "Go, for I will send you far away to the Gentiles." So really quick, it's not up to us who God uses, y'all.
Yeah, true.
All right. And it's like, and as I've said before, and not as I agree, as I've agreed with for a long time. Yeah, we get the government we deserve.
Yeah.
All right. That's on God. And I know that people use that as an excuse to say that, well, we're supposed to submit to government and all that sort of stuff according to Romans. And of course, they're reading that wrong. You still have the right. If your government is imposing ungodly laws on you, yeah, we're supposed to question that.
Actually, we have a republic, so.
Right? Yeah. It's like why are y'all making all these laws that are contrary to the supreme law of the land? What are you doing that for? And yes, we have a republic. We're not supposed to be voting in new laws that are contrary to the supreme law of the land.
Yeah.
All right. You want to make clarifications and all that sort of stuff. That's one thing. And even clarifications become subjective about what the law says.
True. Yeah.
It's and y'all, that's why when it comes down to the 10 commandments, y'all, that's as good as a constitution really gets.
Amen.
as far as that goes. If you want to see how this works, and even in the book, it tells you how to establish a government and whatnot. But in here, you have people that think that we're supposed to be all submissive to government. No, we're not. You're supposed to be submissive to government if the law is right. There's laws that are put in place, like don't steal. Well, obey that law. Yeah. That's a law that you're supposed to be submissive to. All right. Laws like don't murder. Well, you're supposed to be submissive to laws like that. Okay? But when you have laws that says, yeah, we're going to tax your income, and this is the law that we're going to be doing this, that's a law that should be questioned, because that's theft.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like you're not supposed to just be submissive to that law. You're supposed to question it. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of people out there that don't know the difference between good law and bad.
Yeah.
And they don't understand that this is a republic, and they think through democratic process they can vote against the supreme law of the land.
Amen.
That's become a big problem in this republic.
Yeah.
Big problem is that people, they misunderstand what it means. We the people, they misunderstand it. They think that as people we can just go ahead and vote any laws that we want to satisfy ourselves. It's like, no, that's not what it means. You can't do that. You can't just vote in laws that encroach upon somebody else. There's a balance to this. Okay? Maybe you think that this is liberty for you, but your liberties. Well, what about the liberties? Like, say, for instance, they think that we Christians are trying to impose laws on them for them to live by, and we got some sort of theocracy and stuff like that. Yeah, our morality. It's like, no. We're trying to keep you from imposing your laws on us. We're just trying to steadfast to what the law is.
Amen.
Okay? And you guys, you want to do these things. If you want to do these things for your own enjoyment, go ahead, but do not force us to endorse it.
Right.
You
said you were going to keep it in your bedroom,
right? These different laws that they want, from tax policy to social policy, whichever, they're forcing us to abide by these things. It's like, no, you want to enjoy those things, you go ahead and you do it in your own circles.
Amen. But
you don't force the rest of the nation to comply with you. You don't do that. All right, that's totally selfish. And in that, so for those who believe that we're just supposed to submit to government, is that what we're supposed to do? We're just supposed to accept the laws, the sinful, and be ruled by sinful laws, and forego the law of God? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, are we supposed to officiate gay weddings, even though?
Yeah, God told us to do no such thing.
Yeah,
you're reading it wrong. Reading it wrong. All right, let's see. And said to me, "Go, for I will send you far away to the Gentiles." Up to this statement, they listened to him. Then they raised their voices, saying, "Away from the earth with this fellow, for he's not fit to live."
Wow.
Now, okay. So, what do I keep saying? We get this, right? We get this. These people are not listening to reason.
Oh, amen. Yeah.
Right? Paul just told them what the deal is. Right? What's their answer? Kill him. So, y'all, we're in these days now. And it's, let me take that back. We're in the days where we shouldn't see it anymore, because this has always been.
Yes.
All right? This goes back to the Civil War. This goes back to before America was founded. When it's like, I know this goes back to even when the Magna Carta was founded. Mm-hmm. All right? Back then, acknowledge the rights of men, sure, but does it really acknowledge where these rights come from?
Yeah.
All right? And that's why the founding fathers had to put it in there that these are self-evident truths. We're endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. Right? That's why they had to put that in there. Because, and these rights come from where? Come from the Creator. They don't come from government or anything like that. They're not like these inherent rights that we just accept. Mm-hmm. Right? As like some sort of thing that we're just born with, or that we're just supposed to recognize. No, you're supposed to recognize where these rights come from.
Amen.
All right? And that He is the one who gives the statutes on when these lives are supposed to be deprived of somebody or not. When somebody's supposed to be put to the sword. It's Him who gives the guidelines for that we carry back, that we carry out. We're given the authority to carry them out, but we have to do it by His guidelines.
Amen. Yeah.
Right? And we have to understand that He is the one who gives the guidelines. He is the one who gives the rights. But unfortunately, but what happens, y'all? What has happened? What has happened? Despite this republic that we have, you still have people that decide they're just going to totally ignore that and imagine that through democratic process we can ignore these rights at whatever whim that we have.
Yeah.
Just pick and choose who has rights and who doesn't. Like President Trump doesn't have the right to be president.
Yeah.
Right? That's imagination land. It's imagination land that, hey, if Trump is elected, all of us are going to go crazy. If he's not elected.
Right?
Right? Imagination land. Well, Trump was elected. Who went crazy? The left did. Or crazier, I should say.
Crazier, yeah.
They went crazier. Why am I saying this? Because we just read, y'all. After this, the mob. Right? These are a whole bunch of Anti-Fuddy freaks.
Yeah.
That just went crazy. Because they heard the truth. And when they heard the truth, they had a serious allergic reaction.
Yeah.
Right? And they want to kill Paul for it. After hearing what? The truth. So, in this time, y'all, now Paul was, I reckon was kind of a square dude. Very legalistic, very square. It's like, man, Paul, maybe you should have busted out with a rap or something like that.
Oh,
maybe you should have rapped this thing out, man, or something like that. Or maybe fund like a production or something like. Don't get me wrong, y'all, because, y'all, I am not trying at all to say that entertainment will solve everything. That's not what I'm saying. I am not saying that at all. That is not.
Of course.
The salvation is not in that. The salvation is not in a song. Even though David sung a lot of songs, right? It's important for us. And God loves music. He's surrounded by music, worship, loud worship. I'm talking loud rockin' worship, right? That's how God likes to get down. Okay, so music is obviously very important. Is it going to solve everything? No. But y'all, we could use all the help we can get. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right.
Amen.
There's there's certain things that we might want to pull out to be like, say, oh man, just so we can move the ball a little bit further. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Should we explore these things?
Yes.
All right. So as they were crying, okay, like we were just, they're about to kill. They want to kill Paul. They want to kill Paul for what? Telling the truth. As they were crying out and flinging off their cloaks. Ooh, that must have been an ironic picture. For Paul, for Saul.
Yeah.
Right? Actually, no, he's Paul at this point. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay?
Barely Paul. Yeah.
For Paul, this must have been a scary thing, man, because they're pulling off their cloaks. And Paul used to be the guy to say, yo, go ahead and lay your cloaks at my feet while you go and kill this person.
Oh, my.
Now it's his turn. That must have been a surreal and scary.
Wow.
Talk about a turning of tables, man. As they were crying out and flinging off their cloaks and throwing dust into the air. Man, I'm sorry, man, that gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
For Paul, man, it's just like, man, Paul's just like, dude. I used to be that guy, man. I used to be that guy, right?
Yeah.
The commander ordered Paul to be brought into headquarters. He said, Paul should be examined by lashing, interrogated, right? It's like, Paul, are you telling something else we don't know? Why are these people so freaked out by you, man?
Yeah.
You must have did something. We're gonna beat it out of you, right? It's kind of sad, but that's what he's gonna get, right?
Yeah.
So, or at least that's what's posed to him, so that they might find out why they were shouting against him so. But when they stretched him out with straps, Paul said to the centurion standing there, "Yo, Cylon, why are you about to beat me?" Because we do not like it. Sorry.
Nerd.
I had to fit Battlestar Galactica in there somehow because I like
Nerd.
Battlestar Galactica. All right, by your command. Okay. When the centurion heard, okay, sorry about that. Standing there, is it legal for you to scourge a man who is a Roman citizen without due process? Yeah, right. You go lay this on me without due process of law, man. What's up with you?
Yeah.
Okay. When the centurion heard this, he went to the commander and reported it, saying, "What are you gonna do? For this man is a Roman." The commander came and said to him, "Tell me, you a Roman, man?" And he said, "Yup." The commander answered, "Dang, I bought this citizen with citizenship with a large sum." So I guess even this guy wasn't naturalized. He wasn't even naturalized, right?
No.
It was a naturalized or just a bona fide Roman citizen. I had to buy mine,
You had to buy it.
right? And Paul's like, "Well, I didn't." Yeah, you want to trade places? I should be flogging you, son.
Yeah.
All right. Paul said, "Yeah, but I was born so. Therefore, those who were about to interrogate him instantly drew back from him, and the commander was afraid when he found out that Paul was a Roman and that he had bound him. But on the next day, desiring to know exactly why Paul had been accused by the Judeans, he released him and commanded the ruling Kohanim and all the Sanhedrin to meet together. And he brought Paul and set him before them." All right.
Wow.
There we go, y'all. Acts 22. Man, 20 chapters from Acts 2 that we read a year ago. 20 chapters going into 2020, right?
Cool.
I feel like a slot machine should appear right here and just like pour out a bunch of stuff. It's like, yeah, jackpot. Go play lotto or something. I ain't gonna play lotto. I don't gamble.
No.
I don't gamble. Not judging. I just don't.
No, yeah, you kind of believe the proverbs when they say, "Don't try and get rich quick things."
Yeah, man, they ain't gonna do it. Yeah. Well, I must have done real good in not trying to get rich. I've done really good in trying not to get rich quick, Lord.
Jeez.
All right.
So I thought Jason Telfer had something interesting.
Lay it on me.
We were discussing government and corruption.
Yeah.
So here's my take on government fully gone insane. In California, it is legal to knowingly and willfully spread HIV and AIDS without consent.
Mm-hmm.
That should tell everyone government has become corrupt and does not have the people's interest in mind. Would you agree?
Oh, totally, man. Yeah. It's because remember, y'all, it's politically incorrect to stigmatize AIDS.
Yeah.
You can't do that, right? So you can have
They
knowledge.
have laws against it here.
Yeah,
Against even disclosing AIDS stuff.
right? You can have full knowledge that you're HIV positive.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but you can go and you can have partners, and it's not illegal for you to warn them, right? That person gets AIDS because I mean, I don't know about you, but that sounds like manslaughter. Well, I mean,
it does to me.
I would even is it a stretch to say that that's first degree murder? I mean, because it's not like it's malice. This person just wants to share in some pleasure.
Wants lust, yeah.
Right? He wants to share in some pleasure with their partner. So it's supposed to be a pleasurable experience, but you know that they can contract something that's going to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, wanton disregard in manslaughter? Definitely. Is it premeditated murder?
Yeah, he's saying I think it's pre-planned.
Yeah. But what is this person killing out of for? I mean, I don't know, man. I kind of lean towards premeditated murder because it's like you know that, I mean, because when a person murders, even that is a form of pleasure for the murderer.
Well, that's true.
The murderer gets the satisfaction. Is doing it for some sort of satisfaction, right? Is doing it for some sense of pleasure, right? So what's the difference? This person is gonna have a night of pleasure, day, whichever, right? have some pleasure, knowing that this pleasurable experience is going to result in giving this person something that they can die from.
What if, like, I know in the Palm Springs area, because it's a huge gay population there, they have these things called bug parties where they all know that there's a mixture of, somebody can have AIDS there, but they all choose to, like, have sex with each other anyway. I mean, that's kind of choosing your own.
And then people have the nerve to say that healthcare should be like a right.
Oh yeah.
You know, you guys want to go and participate in these activities and stuff like that, these disease-spreading activities, and then you want people to flip the bill for it.
Exactly, yeah.
Come on, man. It's like we got this society that claims to be all about being natural and health and all that sort of stuff and just does all sorts of stupid stuff to compromise their health at the expense of somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah? So it's once again, it goes back to this imaginary thing, you know, where everybody thought, like during Obama, everybody's going to get health care. It's like, no, you guys just overlooked and imagined that you can get all health care. It's like, no, he made it a law.
Yeah.
You know, meaning that if you don't go get it, you're going to get fined for it. Yeah, good job, you know? So, yeah. What else is coming down in California? California is going to be, we always got crazy stuff coming down here, man. You know, I'm hoping at some point, you know, maybe, just maybe, you know, the tide will turn.
Man, it used to be Republican here.
Because here's right. Because here's the thing, y'all. People talk about California. They try to write off California, y'all. I'm telling you, California, the disease spreads. People talk about like in their states, like they got it all together. It's like, no, your state's going crazy too. Trust me. All right, your state is going crazy too. And you got these left wing representatives in there.
Yep.
And you know, you will go the way of California.
Amen.
So you better hope that California can straighten up. Okay. So it's like, don't write us off, man. It's like I hear you. It's frustrating. We want to get out of California. The way California is, we want to get out of here too. Right? California makes it so you can barely afford to drive to work.
Amen.
Let alone load up a truck and drive to another state.
Yeah.
Give us a break. You know? But, you know, like I said.
Yeah, people are trapped here.
Yeah, people get trapped here. You know what I'm saying? Thank God thank you, Lord, for the liberation in Christ. But the thing is, y'all, it's easier said than done. And but for those who are thinking that California can't be turned around, well, I'm sorry, but the infection spreads. And if we can't fix it in California, it's not going to be fixable in your state. It's going to get crazy, just like California. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Like, especially when people talk about, like, from the southern state, you crazy Californians and stuff like that. You don't forget that your state used to be Democrats. Your states was Democrats far longer than it was Republican. Okay, and it's going back. You're backsliding.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not going to turn into Democrats. You're going to turn back into them.
Glenn is fight the fight in the South.
That's right. Fight the fight.
Good fight.
Right. In the South, y'all been Democrats longer than California has.
Oh Lord.
Okay, y'all.
That's a scary thought, honey.
Y'all, I'm telling you, and unfortunately, the nation doesn't understand this. They haven't learned this. But a lot of stuff that they're so sore about, you know, that the nation is still crying about to this very day, is stuff that Democrats did, and a lot of that stuff they were doing in the South. And people say, well, the North was doing it too. You know why? Because there were Democrats in the North also. All right. You want to talk about there was slavery in the North? I said, yeah, it was Democrats there. Okay, they wanted to keep slavery legal too. Yeah. So crack me up and say, well, Republicans had slaves too. I'm like, when? When did Republicans have? They weren't around long enough to have slaves. Republican Party was founded right when they were founded. They went to war. You know,
yeah, true.
They'll try to say the Republicans had slaves too. It's like, I don't know when they had time to, but they'll blame that stuff on the North, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, there was slavery in the North. I'm not excusing that, but they had Democrats there.
Yeah.
And but my point is that a lot of the stuff that people are so mad about is because Democrats. And in the South, in the southern states, when they're looking at how crazy things are going, it's like, yeah, a lot of the stuff that the nation is so sore about is because of the Democrats in the South.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Amen.
But that's the truth. It's not the South's fault. It's not a fault of Southern people. But it's the Democrats who gave you a bad reign.
Yeah.
Democrats did that.
Yeah.
Southern Democrats did that to y'all. I love my Southern brothers and sisters. I ain't got a problem with y'all at all. But the Democrats in the South really messed things up for y'all.
Yeah.
And if you're not careful, your state will go back to them.
Yeah.
It's heading out. It's heading that way now.
Scary.
Going up like us crazy Californians. All right. There's a lot of people from who are in California came from y'all's place anyway.
So here's a question.
I'm not trying to pass on blame. There's enough blame.
You know,
Sorry.
that's true about California.
Mm-hmm.
You pointed out that California, nobody's from California. Everybody moves here from the other states.
From other places.
Union.
Yeah. Right? But there's plenty of blame to go around. I'm not trying to pass it off on one person. Just helping to put things into perspective. What do we got?
So, okay, this guy was just trolling, but you did just bring up slavery. So, do you want me to ask his question? Because he is just trolling. He doesn't care about what the Bible says. He's picking and choosing. Kind of an intriguing question. You probably should tag on.
Sure.
Right.
Welcome to the ZOpium Den.
Brian Starkey Troll.
Hi, Starkey.
I want to sell my daughter. I am looking into Deuteronomy. Can you tell me who I can sell my daughter to? So he's going on the principle that the Bible okays slavery and selling your daughters into slavery.
Okay.
Well, obviously he hasn't read the Bible.
Well, no, you haven't. You have cherry picked. Now, when people want to bring up that the Bible condones slavery, for some reason you keep overlooking that God says if you kidnap a person for yourself, right, which basically is forcing a person into servitude or forcing a person to perform at your pleasure, or if you sell them into a market for slavery, right, this is forced servitude, that person is to be put to death.
Yeah.
So that alone should tell you that God is not pro-slavery at all. If you force somebody into slavery, that is forced slavery, and that is punishable by death according to God. People who also say this, they obviously overlook the Exodus. God wiped out the Egyptians. Why? Because of slavery.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
So they got wiped out. Which should also tell you that God is not pro-slavery at all. But what happens is that people overlook that what kind of slavery we're talking about. Okay, back then, there's a thing called bondservants. And y'all, it's even in our Constitution now. In our Constitution, a person can be put into slavery. You can't force somebody to slavery, but however, through due process of law, if that person has committed a crime, that person can be put into a term of servitude, right?
Yeah.
It's actually constitutional. So, unlike the Democrat-founded Constitution and the Democrat-founded Constitution of the Confederate States, that Constitution, crafted by the Democrats, you can enslave a black person for just being black.
Yeah.
Okay? So don't get it twisted. Our Constitution doesn't work that way. That's the Constitution that people are confusing, right? The Democrat Constitution. So when a person can't pay off a debt, then that person becomes a bondservant. Term of 6 years, right? If a person is a spoil of war, meaning that when God sends Israel in to make war with another nation, it's because they are brutally enslaving people.
Yeah.
Forcing people into slavery, child sacrifice, virgin sacrifice, all sorts of things that are oppressive. God will say, yes, I need you to go wipe out that culture before they spread disease and also spread oppression.
Yeah.
Okay? So then they can take them as spoils of war. It's like retribution. You want to enslave other people, we'll enslave yours. However, even in the enslavement of the Hebrews was better than being enslaved to where they were.
Yeah.
Okay? So it was actually a step up. If a person couldn't pay off a debt, like say for instance, debts that need to be paid off, right? Can't pay off your debt? Well, you're going to be my bondservant.
Yeah.
But so this person is asking about a person selling their daughter into it's not like they're selling their daughter. It's what's called a dowry. Right? So if a person wants to purchase, or if he wants to sell his daughter, he's not necessarily selling her as a bride, he's selling her as a maidservant. Okay? And then the Bible from there gives the conditions on how this person is supposed to treat her. If you bought her to be your maidservant, it is also telling you that you have to respect her and boundaries and stuff like that, and do not deal with her deceitfully. Meaning that if you took her to be your maidservant and you slept with her and you did not marry her and give her the rights of a wife, then you have dealt with her deceitfully.
Yeah.
The Bible said, maybe you overlooked that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not talking about like slavery as you're trying to stigmatize the Bible as. You've got it totally twisted. All right, so I hope that you receive the Lord's peace and truth. And actually, read the Word of God, man, and square this stuff up. Matter of fact, what you can do is that you get my book, The Solid Right Cross. It'll help you out, man. I'm a bad promoter. I don't have my book in front of me because it's over there by my recording station. Because I'm getting that audio book ready for y'all. But all these things that you're talking about, man, I've addressed in my book, A Solid Right Cross. And, I know that you're trying to, make the Bible out to be like this slave promoting book. And it's just not, man. It's just not. You're trying to say that this book is about selling your children and all that sort of stuff. It's just not. Because, like I said, there's safeguards in even doing that. God already puts in guidelines on how this is supposed to work. Right.
How we're supposed to treat, these women with dignity.
Yeah.
Which pagans don't really care about treating women with dignity. Look
Right.
at how women are treated today.
Absolutely.
The Bible is the only book, religion, true
Indeed.
and living God that actually cared about women and their dignity.
That's right. Because pagan sacrifices involved sacrificing virgins.
Yeah.
God don't play that.
But I used to listen to what man said about the Bible, and I hated the Bible and thought it was anti-woman and pro-slavery until I actually read it myself and quit listening to what people told me that it said.
And listen to the Holy Spirit.
Yes, amen.
If you're gonna read the Bible, man, consult with the author of it.
Amen.
I mean, it's like, when people people go to like book readings and book signings and stuff like that. Why? But they want to go because they want to hear right from the author. It's like, can we get some insight into your book? And they want to hear from the author. What did you mean by this? And they ask it, what did you mean by this? Well, the Bible has an author, and you can consult with them.
Amen.
Yeah, that's right. You pray to it. If you really want to read the book, man, it's like, I don't know. It's like what the motivation is. Like, you want to read the book and you want to make a judgment. Nobody's being more judgmental here than you, right? But you're being judgmental, and without really squaring the Bible up, you're gonna make this judgment without even consulting with the author and say, what did you mean by this?
Right? Yeah.
True. I would like to know. All right. Anyway.
Okay, so we'll do one more question, and we've got a couple of prayer requests.
All right.
Okay. Can you believe in the Trinity if you think the God of the Old Testament is mean and angry? Isn't that kind of Splitsville? Like you know what I mean?
I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh. I don't mean that. Okay. And please forgive me, because I say this all due respect. Anybody who looks at the Old Testament and sees that God is mean and angry didn't read the New Testament. He hadn't read it. Because Jesus in the New Testament makes God in the Old Testament look like he was a really nice guy in a really good mood. When Jesus is coming back, y'all, he's coming back for blood. And there's going to be lots of it.
Yeah.
All right? True. Y'all, we're talking about Jesus who was like almost biting his knuckles, saying, I want to set the world on fire right now.
Saying that to his disciples.
Even his closest people say, man, I'm about to unload on y'all for real. Okay? And when Jesus comes back, that's exactly what he's going to do.
Yeah.
He's going to unload. All right? So, and Jesus is the one who, he says himself, what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah is going to be like Disneyland compared to what's coming. Y'all have gotten on my nerves. All right, so when people are thinking about this Old Testament God that's so mean and angry, you ain't ready for Jesus.
Yeah.
You ain't ready for Jesus. All right? They're the same person. All the things, if you're a Christian and you understand that Jesus is God, right? Because that's what it takes. To be a Christian, you have to understand that Jesus is God. He's the same God of the Old Testament. All that stuff, that retribution, the wrath that was poured out in the Old Testament, that was Jesus. It's the same person. All right? He's been there since the beginning. We read that in John. In the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was God. All right? So it's the same person. There is no separation.
Yeah.
Right?
Amen. Trinity. So Jeff Gerlach, he was asking, how do we get your book, and how did you come up with Bronze Serpent?
Oh, okay. My book is at bronzeserpentmedia.com.
Thank you, Glennis.
All right. And if people, if you want, might be more. I don't know. Maybe it might be more fun if you go to the website and you click the About tab, it'll tell you how I came up with the term Bronze Serpent Media. But the Cliff Note version is Bronze Serpent just examined John 3:14 through 16, where it says that just as the serpent was lifted up in the wilderness, so shall the Son of Man be lifted up. Right, and it's referring to when the Israelites were getting on God's nerves, and he sent venomous snakes with fiery venom. I'm talking venom that made them feel like they was on fire, right? And they was biting the Israelites, and they were like, man, this is killing me. I'm gonna die, right? And Moses cried, it's like they're telling Moses, man, Moses, what can you do about this? And Moses like, hey God, what's up? What can I do about this? And God says, I need you to make a bronze serpent and put it on a pole. All they got to do is look at it, right? They look at it and they'll be healed. And that right there gives you the picture of what's said in John 3:14 through 16. Just as a serpent will be lifted up in the wilderness, so shall the Son of Man. All right. So, but go to the Bronze Serpent Media page and just click the About Me tab, and it'll give you deeper details into it. It might be a fun read for you.
Yeah, I was gonna
right?
say, it's fun.
All
right, you ready for our prayer request, Boo?
Sure.
So Glennis was asking for prayers for Australia. There's out of control fire there.
In the land down under.
She has a friend that says it's just dark all the time.
Wow.
It's crazy there. So people are in a lot of distress, heartbreak, and loss. And then I did not know this because I've been spending time with family today. Our embassy was attacked in Iraq today. So she's asking for prayers for our brothers and sisters who are serving over there.
Well, y'all in the nations abroad, Lord, in Yeshua's name, we're trusting in you to get people through these calamities.
Yes.
You know, this is not beyond your control, Lord. You know, the world is your footstool. You know, and we trust, you know, Father, that we know that these things are going to happen. You know, we don't accept it, that these things are going to happen, but not accept it as in being complacent. You know, that's why we're here to promote your truth.
Yes, Lord.
Your truth. And we definitely need the counsel of the Holy Spirit. We know how these things are going to go down, but you said that you will not, you won't leave us or you won't forsake us. You know, some people wonder, it's like, well, what good is that? And, you know, it's like, well, why doesn't God keep these things from happening and stuff like that? Well, you know, God did put a stop to it, and the people didn't accept it. You know, God did come to save us, and people don't accept it. And so Jesus has done his part. And the time is going to come where Jesus is going to put an end to all this. And what we got to do is we got to cling to him and just keep promoting his truth. And in the meantime, we have to know that, you know, he's going to see us through these things. For some people, it's gonna get really bad. It's gonna get really ugly. It's gonna get really bloody. Let that be a reminder to us that we could be the same. By the grace of by the grace of God, there go I. We could be that. If we're not careful and we don't cling to God, that could be us too. And sometimes, you know, we're made to see these things, Lord. We get it. We understand. We're made to see these things, and more than ever, we gotta lean on you. And use what it is that you give us. Use what you give us to promote sanity, because there's insanity that is ruling in the world. And help us to be effective, and you know, that we can promote sanity, and you know, just promote your relief, your resolve in the world.
Your peace.
But what we really want the most, Lord, Maranatha.
Yes, Lord.
Just call us up. You know, let's. You know, if these be the last days, you know, you can't come. It's like you can't come soon enough for us, you know, to set things straight. Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Father.
Yeshua's name.
In Yeshua's name. Amen. And Happy New Year.
Yeah.
And thank you, Lord, for giving us a new decade to enjoy.
That's right. Here's to him. Sledge in the new year.
Oh, geez.
Sledge in 2020. That's right. All right. Blessings, y'all. You know what's up. 2020 going in. We got this 2020 hindsight. In the name of Yeshua, let's use that to be effective salt and light for his glory. Let's put out that healing truth, y'all. Let's just promote truth. That's the best preservative. Right?
Yes, it is.
It's the gospel is the best preservative. It's the best thing. It's let's be inspirational to folks. Let's put these resources, man. We're blessed with so many resources in this nation. Man, let's not let that go to waste, right? For his glory. Let's rock it. Let's rock the gospel. All right, y'all. Blessing. See you next year. See you next decade. Where's that finish button at? Come on, finish button. Why are you not cooperating?